Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You can also find links to all of my YouTube video tutorials there, and you can find information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day when you're working through your exam paper. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. And now we're going to look at the specimen paper, that's paper S, at the back of the Grade 3 2014 past paper booklet. So if you turn with me to page 13, we can make a start on this. Now this paper was never actually sat as an exam paper in 2014, they've just provided this as an extra sample paper just as a bonus at the end of this booklet. So even though it's not an actual exam paper, it's written in that same format, and even though it's an older exam paper, it's still a really valuable revision resource. So I would make use of all of these papers in lots of different years. So I'm hoping that you've had a go of this yourself. It doesn't matter if you've gone wrong. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. Always write in pencil. I use a mechanical pencil just so it stays nice and sharp, so it's neat and tidy. So I'm hoping you've had a go of this and we'll look through this together now. So question 1 asks us to add the time signature to each of these 5 melodies. And so there are 5 different time signatures that we're looking for here. And so this first one, if we just glance through, perhaps this is the bar that will give us the answer in the easiest form. And we can see that we're grouping in crotchet beats, and there's one crotchet beat, 2 halves of a crotchet, quaver equals a crotchet, or eighth note equals a quarter note. 4 semiquavers or 4/16 notes give us a crotchet or a quarter note. There's a crotchet just as it is, and then we've got another 4 semiquavers, 4/16 note that gives us a crotchet. So we can see we've got 4 crotchet beats. So we could say 4/4. Alternatively, you could say common time, or mathematically speaking, that would be also acceptable to say 2/2, because we can see that we can find 2 minim beats there as well. Or you could also use the a la breve shortcut sort of split common time signature there. So any one of those will do. If you want to just check the maths in the other bars, let's just look at that. We'll look at it in terms of crotchet beat. So we've got 1 beat here, a half a beat and a half a beat gives us a beat. There's 1 beat plus half as much again because of the dot, and then these 2 quarter of a beats give us a half as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3 plus 2 halves is 4. And then here, don't let the ties put you off. It doesn't affect the addition of the note values. So we've got a 1 beat there, 4 quarters of a beat, 4 semiquavers give us a crotchet beat or a quarter note. There's a beat, there's a beat. Now this last bar, because it says etc., you know this is an incomplete bar, so we don't count that at all. So let's move on to the next one. So now, I think really this first bar gives us the answer pretty easily. We can see that we're counting in minim beats really, that's the only way to best explain this. And we can see that a semibreve or a whole note divides into 2 minims, 1, 2, and then there's another one, 3. So we're counting 3/2 there, 3 half notes, 3 minim beats. Let's look at this bar, 1, 2, 3. Now here we've got 1 beat, 1 minim beat, 1 half note, plus half as much again because of the dot, and when combined with this crotchet beat, that gives us another minim beat, and there's another minim beat. Now here, a crotchet and 2 quavers gives us a minim beat, there's a minimum beat, and there's a minimum beat rest. So we can see there are 3 minimum beats per bar. Let's look at this next one. So glancing ahead, straight away, this first bar tells us nice and easily what the time signature is. We're in 3/4, 3 crotchet beats per bar. That has to be the only explanation, because we can see here we're divided into 2s. So it's simple time. It has to be 3/4. You couldn't say 6/8, although mathematically speaking, that looks like it adds up to the same amount. 6/8 is compound time, which is divided into groups of 3. This is in groups of 2. It's simple time, and so it has to be 3/4. Let's just look at that a bit more closely. A minim, or a half note, divides into 2 crotchets, or 2 quarter notes, and there's another one. So there's our 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Now here we have 3/4 of a beat plus a quarter of a beat, and if maths isn't your strong point, you can see if we just break that down, there's a whole beat. Let's break that into quarters. So we have half a beat here with the quaver, or the 8th note. The dot gives us half as much again, and then we have a quarter of a beat left in this semi-quaver 16th note, and we can see there's 1 beat. And also we know the rule that these are beamed together in crotchet beat values, so we can see we've got 1 beat here, 1 beat here, 1 beat here, 1, 2, 3. We have the same scenario again here, so we've already done the thinking for that. There's 1 beat, there's 1 beat, there's 1 beat's rest. Here, like this bar, we can see there's 1, 2, 3. Like this bar, we can see there's 1, 2, 3. And then this bar, we can see we've got 1, 2 beats there, and then 2 halves, 2 quavers, half of a beat, or 2 8th notes gives us a crotchet or a quarter note. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2 with a 1 beat rest gives us 3. So we can see that's 3/4. Let's move on to the next one. So now we can see we're grouped in 3s. And so we know that's a compound time. And we can see also that we're going to be counting in quaver beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. 6/8 is compound time, and it's duple compound time. There are 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3 is there. 1, 2, 3 is there. And we can see our 2 groups of 3. And so at a glance you can see group 1, group 2. Group 1, group 2. If you want to look at the maths a little bit more closely, we can see we've got a quaver beat here. There's an 8th note, that's 1. There's 1 plus half as much again. And then here we have half of a 8th note, half of a quaver, this semi-quaver. So there we have 1, 2, 3. Here this divides into 2 quavers, 1, 2, 3. So you can see there, and then this math is the same as this. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, but this bar isn't complete, so that etc. means we don't have to count that. So there we go, 6/8, that's that one. And then this next one, the last one in this question, if we just glance, this is the bar that will tell us straight away, nice and easy, without getting confused by these triplet signs. So we're counting, if we divide this into quaver beats or 8th notes, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3. And also what will give us the clue for that is that in 3/8 we can beam everything together for the whole bar, and so that's another clue that tells us what we're doing here. So we know it's going to be 3/8. But let's look at the maths a little bit more carefully. Don't let these triplet signs confuse you. It just means 3 in the time of 2. So we've got 2 quaver beats, 2 semi-quaver beats there, 2 16th notes. And then we have a quaver beat, 2 semi-quavers there. And we know that those 2 semi-quavers, or 2 16th notes, gives us a quaver beat. So there's 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 quaver beats. So don't let those triplets throw you. So again, 3 in the time of 2, which gives us a quaver or an 8th note. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's a quaver beat rest, an 8th note rest. So there we go. That's that question completed. Let's move on. And so now, This question 2 is another example of how the paper has changed from 2018 onwards. The newly revised exam syllabus will no longer ask you to write a 4-bar rhythm, so we won't bother with that. We can just skip ahead. However, the rest of the paper is an excellent revision resource, so we'll just continue to make use of these papers, but we know we can skip that question. So here we go, looking at question 3. I always like these questions. I think these are easy 10 marks. Of course, it requires a knowledge of your key signatures and you just need to revise those. However, I always find it helpful to write out all of my major and minor related keys with key signatures. Write them out in a list, counting up in 5s, using the circle of fifths to help you, and then all of your thinking is done and you don't need to bother scratching your brain after that. If you're not sure how to write out this circle of fifths, there's a video tutorial that I've done explaining how to do this. It takes a little bit of practice, but you soon get it, and then your key signatures are easy peasy. So if you want to figure out how to write out this circle of fifths, if you look in the description below and also in the cards, you'll find the link to the video helping you to do that. So question 3 asks us to write out 1 octave ascending, so we're going upwards, and we're using semi-breves or whole notes, so we don't need to worry about stems. The scale of C melodic minor, and we need to do that with a key signature. So let's do that key signature first. C minor is related to E flat major, so it has a key signature of B flats, E flats and A flats. And so now I'm just going to get the note heads in place, so let's just get the blobs in the right place. We're in the treble clef. We need to be going upwards, so I'll start low. So I'll start on middle C, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From C to C, that's an octave. So we have the key signature. Now we need to make this the melodic minor, and to do that we have to now raise the 6th and the 7th degrees of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 6 and 7. Now that's an A flat and a B flat, and so to raise those we can't just stick a sharp sign, that would be raising them twice. We have to cancel out the flat sign and we raise them by adding a natural sign. So what we've done, if we just visualise that on the piano keyboard, we've gone from A flat to A natural, that's raised, B flat to B natural, that's raised. And there we go. That's job done, that's easily done. And now we need to look at this next one. So we need to add the correct clef to make this the scale of E major, and then we need to add accidentals, any sharp or flat signs, not a key signature. So let's deal with this first one. E major, of course, must begin and end on E. If you're a bit out of your usual territory here, look at the bottom one, and we know in the bass clef all cows eat grass, so there's the E, and so we know that's bass clef. And then E major would have a key signature of F, C, G, D sharps. We don't need to do a key signature, so we'll have to add those as accidentals. Now if it is that you're not familiar with this bass clef, it depends upon what instrument you play, whether you're familiar with the notes. By all means you can just count it out, or just make life easy, just sketch your letter names. Don't forget we're descending, so I find it easy counting upwards, although you could go backwards. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then your thinking's done. So we want F sharps. Remember the sharp goes before the note. You need to know before you play it, otherwise it's too late. F, C, middle C, G, D. And there, 10 marks, nice and easy. There we go then, that's that question completed. We'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope this is helpful to you. I hope that you're enjoying it. If you could give me a like, that would be really super. Please do go to sharonbale.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.